Most of the politicians are his students. And I stay at his home only. He's just very close to UN headquarters in Nairobi.
That is where we applied for our
Very posh area.
very
So you have flown from your place to Kenya or Vita?
yes.
Personally?
Yes.
Yes.
They don't do it electronically.
We got
How visa for Kenya is electronically visa.
No, it's the traditional way. You leave your passport, wait for appointment to go and yeah.
coming for Brazil, you just get to online submit and then online
And apply.
and then you get your visa.
अभी आवाज आ रही है अभी
सब ठीक है, ऑल गुड। आवाज आ रही है, थैंक यू।
अभी आवाज आ रही है
हाँ आवाज आ रही है, थैंक यू।
हेलो
International Network of Indians living with HIV. The Kenya chapter. Yeah, they provide some feedback. Yeah.
हेलो 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 हेलो
थैंक यू, बहुत अच्छी आवाज आ रही है, थैंक यू।
So let's start our text session number 10. Ending stigma and discrimination and protecting rights of people with HIV. So Mr. Floriano, Borges, Assistant Professor Social Work, Goa University, may I request to uh, Mr. Peter, please.
Everyone. The subject is very passionate. Stigma and two important words, stigma and rights. Both are very important. We have seen how stigma has evolved over the period of time for last 10 years. Maybe let's make it very engaging. Is stigma around still? What kind of stigma are we facing? Has it changed the kind of stigma? We'll have close conversation. Online also. Yeah, participant. I think it's past 10 in India. Hello everyone. Was joining us live from India also. So here we are trying to understand stigma at a global stage, going little deeper. We have young people here around, and we're just trying to understand what does stigma mean to them and how it evolved over the period of. Is it the same we are seeing over a period of time, or has it changed?
So coming from Kenya, I can see that we have some contributing factors which lead to stigma. And over the past 15, 16 years, things have been on treatment since 2008. There have been a lot of changes. However, due to ignorance, we still face the similar cases of stigma that we did, but it isn't as bad as it was back since the medication is working and we have had sufficient sensitization in regards to HIV.
Want to say anything? Yeah, so stigma has evolved over a period of time, and I think a lot of contributing factors, as you said, are there. But how has the programmatic response? That is what I actually wanted to understand and address here. The response to stigma has been not so good. Maybe we have been trying, but of late, like, we don't have, we say zero prevention, zero that, and zero stigma and discrimination. But as far as prevention is concerned, we have a lot of strategies in place. Even for zero deaths, we have particularly measured indicators like viral suppression. But when it comes to zero stigma, we are lost. I feel that we are lost. We don't have a strategic map, strategic focus that we, I think that's something which we need to. I mean, Celina, maybe you can come with more points on this and then we can collectively elaborate.
I think when we talk about stigma, if I think about 30 years ago, we had different types of stigma because we did not have any treatment. There was we were stigmatized everywhere. But now we have treatment. We are living for some years. At the same time, stigma. We have fear of stigma is increased. Most of the young people are facing a lot of stigma at workplaces. If they come to know that there is any status, then they don't get a job. At the healthcare status, we have yard tenders. I don't think there are much stigma there, but when we are going to other setup like dentists and other places, there are still stigma is there because they have been still told like universal precautions are not being taken for the people living with HIV. They are giving class because they are not taking universal precautions as per the guidelines. When we talk about communities, because I am talking about Goa, India. It is nobody wants to talk about HIV because only HIV has something when you disclose. Without disclosing, everybody is living a normal life. So I think the stigma among the young people, if I give the thing that people behind every diagnosis, they are being just judged. They are not treated as person, but they are doing one thing that comes from the mind of the service providers is that how did you get it? All those like sexual roots and all that. Even false positive, like what they are also being stigmatized. But there is no service which is enough for them, especially for building their careers, finding their jobs, their needs and all that. Second thing is that treating HIV is not just about medicine. They need caring, they need a relationship, they have peers, they have goals, all that. So just like anybody else, people will be treated, but we are not treated. Stigma hurts differently for just that virus will be treated. But then people are being told so many things about life. Whenever these things are being, they have been judged, they have been often stigmatized. That silence hurts, that rejection hurts people. And it cannot be taken back because those things are like mentally disturbed, they get disturbed and then it affects their health. And that we need to work together. Young people in HIV do not want sympathy. They want opportunities. They want education. They want friendship, employment, and the freedom. Yes. That's what I want to say. And sometimes the most powerful intervention is not a medicine. It is someone who listens to them. And young people living with HIV, especially, I watch them from growing. They are now young adults. The journey reminds us that HIV does not define a person's future, but the society's response often does. Thank you.
Thank you, Celina, for sharing those experiences. I think those are very powerful ones. Switching back to the rights, I think the rights is something everybody desires, and the rights are the ones which are compromised. Uh, Especially in Indian context, next year we should be complete 10 years of HIV/AIDS Act. 10 years. And if we go to see the whole right perspective, we have not even touched. People around communities don't know what are their rights. The government systems are not in place. The ombudsmen are in chaos, or they don't know even what is their role. So in this context, Elena, what do you see should be done? I don't know what stage in Kenya do we have an HIV/AIDS Act, legal instrument which provides you protection. Yeah, so how effective it is?
So in Kenya, we have something called an HIV tribunal, which is sort of a court system that is used to protect those who live with HIV in cases where the legal rights may be breached. Despite systems being in place, the legal system is quite slow, and in most cases, justice will eventually come, but it takes too long.
But at least you have an instrument, legal instrument, so which is very nice. India also has, but the enforcement, I believe, is pretty slow. What are your experiences, Celina, when it comes to HIV/AIDS Act?
I think that major states act is just make people understand that they are caring for you, but on the ground it is just
पंकज
on the
तुम्हाરું
paper.
प्रेजेंटेशन
There
છે
are hand of good spell in every state, and there are officers at every institution level. But when you go to complain, it is just opportunity health setup, the person at the health level within their like main health center, there is one officer there. So people are going complain there, but they will not get solutions which are needed. I think HIV/AIDS should be more like people centered, where person living with HIV can go complain and then find a solution.
Would you like to add something?
Okay, now Jogendra Upadhyay, Gujarat AIDS Awareness and Prevention Unit, Ahmedabad, Gujarat. He's 25 year experience of the working in the HIV/AIDS project. Lots of experience for working in HIV positive children and men and women. So I request Mr. Jogendra Upadhyay. So please. Uh,
160 Stigma Discrimination-Free Workplace Policy in Industries. Common concern and perceived barrier among workers following an HIV positive diagnosis. Workers who receive an HIV positive diagnosis, a range of psychosocial, workplace and personal, including fear that colleagues may avoid and isolate and discrimination interaction due to their HIV status. Concern that employers may terminate their employment, reduce their wage, or discriminate against them in the workplace. Anxiety about being denied responsibility, assignment, promotions, or careers, advancement, and opportunity. Fear of stigma, ridicule, gossip, or discriminatory behavior from the co-workers. Concern that co-workers may avoid sharing meals, tea break, or other social activity with them. Common concern and perceived barrier among workers following an HIV positive diagnosis. Worry about obtaining premises to attend monthly appointment at the anti-retrotherapy center or fear of wages deduction or loss of income due to medical leave. Here that their HIV status may disclose without their consent, resulting and unwanted question or violence of privacy. Consent that family member may reject, blame, or fail to provide emotional and social support. Denial of diagnosis, particularly when they are asymptomatic or perceive themselves to be in good health. Fear to adverse effect or long-term consequences associated with the daily antiretroviral therapy. Experience of self-stigma, including feeling of the shame, guilt, fear, and reduced self-worth following the diagnosis. It's a common concern of the among workers following the HIV positive diagnosis. What about common concern about authority and of the company? In the absence of adequate knowledge about the HIV, company owners, managers, and supervisors may have following of the misconception regarding workers living with HIV. Consider that all this HIV is not transmitted through the routine workers. Contact other employees may express fear of load, complain of misinformation. Here, the skilled workers may resign or leave the organization, leave the company because of the misconception about working alongside a colleagues living with HIV. Concerned that disclosure of any employee's HIV status could negatively affect the company regulations or image. Believe that workers living with HIV will frequently become ill, required, repeatedly leave, and adversely affect productivity and despite effective treatment. Common concern about authority of section that workers living with HIV should resign or that their company terminate, reflecting discriminatory attitude rather than evidence-based practice. Concern about potential legal dispute arising from the workplace discrimination, co-workers, breaches or complaint related HIV in the workplace. Fear losing express and skilled employed because HIV related stigma, discrimination, lack of workplace support. Concern that HIV positive workers may transmit HIV to other employees in the workplace, despite the fact that HIV is not spread through casual workplace interaction. If a worker is also men having who have sex with men, there may be concern about compounded stigma and discrimination based on both HIV status and sexual orientation or behavior. Concern that stigma, discrimination, or fear following and HIV diagnosis may negatively affect the workers' mental health and some cases increase the risk of self-harm or suicide if the appropriate psychological support is not available. Potential consequence of HIV-related stigma and discrimination. HIV-related stigma and discrimination can have significant consequences for worker, employers, and overall workplace productivity. Potential consequences: loss to employment, forces resign, unpaid termination due to stigma that is acceptable of lower paying of less employment because of limited job opportunity, fear of disclosure, psychological distress, including fear, anxiety, and confusion, emotional distress, anger, and reduce self-esteem. Reduce the adherence to ART therapy. This clinical appointment, loss to follow or discontinue or terminate due to fear of disclosure of discrimination. Poor HIV treatment outcome, including increase the viral load, disease progression, and deterioration in overall health, resulting from inadequate treatment and adherence. Reduce the access to exclusion from workplace benefits, government social protection scheme, health insurance, or other social security entitlements because of discrimination or lack of awareness of available support. Stigma and discrimination-free workplace policy in industries activity. State consultation meeting with the key stakeholder. This is a very big message to all industries association from this meeting. District advocacy meeting with the district level key stakeholder. District level key stakeholder, owner of the industries, HR manager of the industries, supervisor of the industries, decision maker of the for the labor, and this advocacy meeting give a good result. Individual visit to company owners. It is a good thing. Talk to each other, talk to company owners, and reduce misinformation and misconception. Capacity building program to HR manager, supervisor, and labor head. It is good for discrimination-free HIV discrimination-free environment in the company and units. Propose the strategy for the eliminating HIV-related stigma and discrimination in the industries and construction workplace. Develop and adopt the officially endorse the policy, prevention and elimination, stigma and discrimination in workplace in collaboration with the relevant government, state level, industrial, business and construction sector association, all type of association and government. Establish a district level support group and coordination mechanism, facilitate the policy, implement the policy and provide the technical assistance and support the industry's unit and addressing HIV stigma, HIV stigma and discrimination free. Conduct the targeted sensitive and advocacy visit company, owner, employers, senior leadership to promote the awareness of policy, encourage the adoption and strengthen commitment and maintain inclusive and non-discriminatory purpose. Identify and train one or two designated representative from each company or industry's unit to serve voluntary as a HIV stigma discrimination order. Officers or complaint officers. This individual will be responsible for the promoting awareness and facilitating policy implementation, supporting confidentiality and non-discrimination practice, coordination, referral to the HIV related services when required, and services as the focal point for the HIV related workplace concern. Promote the ongoing monitoring and supporting supervision and periodic refresher training to ensure effectively implementation of the policy and foster and set and foster a safe, inclusive and stigma-free workplace environment for all employees. This is our stigma-free workplace workshop. Leader of the labor and association. Implementation and informants inclusive workplace to promote that ensure stigma and discrimination-free workers, environment, and protect their rights, dignity, and equal opportunity of the workers living with HIV across industrial sector in global south. Thanking you. This is my suggestion of rethink, rebuild, and rights. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Rosina. Rosina said that industrial worker how to sensitize industrial workers and owners for zero stigma and discrimination policy for workplace.
I did a lovely presentation by Sir. If he's still online, I wanted to ask him how easy what was for you all to the workplace policy which was notified in 2020. How easy was it for you to take it to industries and get it implemented? If Sir is online, can he share some experiences? Is he online? It's not online. Okay. So that's something which we are worrying about. You know, here in Gujarat, it might be industries, but for us, why it is hospitality industry? Or all of Patels are doing HIV tests without knowledge, and so that's emerging as a huge stigma, discrimination, stigma. Like, the status becomes known of the employee before even they could be absorbed, right? You know, so that's despite it, HIV X being around, it's emerging as a biggest problem. I think the we need to do something. Stay in our thoughts.
That is the main area where it is workplace workers are discriminated. Even our young people go up in the hospitality industry only because they are not educated enough, like postgraduates and all that, when they can get good jobs. Hospitality industry, they are having different levels of jobs. So they take 10th pass, 12th pass also. And when they go for job, even without telling them, still the testing is going on. And when asked, they say that how the industry, they cannot work in the kitchen. They cannot work like that. But we want to protect it, I think, because the misconception is still there. Research is fully required for someone. Can you tell me if HIV is living in the boiling water? How to get rid of this stigma and misunderstanding which is already there from decades. We are not able to, when we say we will end AIDS in 2030, without protecting the rights of those people living with HIV, how do you expect that stigma will reduce or it will end? So I think protecting rights is the solution for ending it.
Anything else? Anything else?
Nevertheless, we have a lot of stigma. And as a result, we do lose a lot of healthcare workers who are affected with HIV because there is that perception of the method of transmission of the virus. So majority of the people know that it's transmitted sexually, and given that most of the people who have the virus are in marriages. So there is that aspect of immorality, which makes majority of the healthcare workers not to accept their status. We do get to lose a lot of them to due to non-adherence to medication. And it is a sad thing because we try our best to onboard them to make them feel comfortable, but it's still a challenge.
Mr. Peter, I'm online.
Yes, so that people are not discriminated. So question for everyone it is like we need to talk about it and we have to end it. So I think we should work together because working separately in literally two pockets, it will not be easy to end. And we talk about the by 2030, it is not very far.
I think summing up, advocacy, I think, is a little bit vague when it comes to Indian context. Certain issues that are evolving now, as regards adolescent living with HIV, India is a lot of emerging aging and HIV emerging as an other issue. So those issues should find space in the national program or in the advocacy. I think that's something which Indian community needs to work, especially the listing good enforcement of the HIV itself. I think that will set a lot of things in place. Right now, I think earlier in all of the negotiable project of India, there was advocacy component as a part. I don't know whether it is still there, but yeah, I think advocacy component should come in dropping centers or CCPs, beyond that. Yeah, so I think in a big way, like there should be more money to do advocacy, to go out and positive living again. So a lot of things need to come back into focus. I think if we are not doing that, then we are not on the way to end AIDS by 2030.
We have also stopped support group meetings. Earlier, support group meetings used to happen. We had compulsory program. Now everything is gone. So again, we have set the virus under like different pockets, right? So people are marginalized. People are just underground. Now they don't want to talk about it. It's all, especially we are talking about. Nobody wants to say that we are making people positive. So what? He said, I don't want to disclose. Everyone will be like, nobody wants to disclose. So I think thank you for creating this space.
Thank you very much for online and virtually. So today's session is finished. For next session, I think 3:30 is the film screening session. So take you. And thank you very much.